All right, so I'm going to try to show you how to take Cornell notes over one of these Khan Academy things, and hopefully this will help some of you that are struggling with the unit stuff. So with Cornell Notes, I hope you have your notebook ready because I'd like for you to write down what I write. On your notebook page, you need to divide up your page like I do here into several sections. I'm going to put the date here. For me, it's 2/11/14. This is units. That's the Khan Academy title that we're using, and it is an algebra topic. I'm going to put a big question mark here, and the big question for this one is how do I use units to solve problems? Okay, and so with Cornell Notes, we're going to write down our problem in this area, and then I'm going to try to make note of what we do over in this area. So let's go ahead and do that. Sorry, my handwriting is probably not as neat as yours is, but I'm going to say everything that I write, so try to follow along with me. Okay, so the problem I'm dealing with is it says the United States Bullion Depository in Fort Knox, Kentucky contains 147,300,000 ounces of gold. How many tons of gold are there? Okay, so we need to describe this amount of gold in tons rather than ounces. And so when I think about that, I'm not going to describe a different quantity. It's the same amount of gold in Fort Knox, but I want to try to say something about exactly how many tons there are. So I'm just talking about the same amount of gold in a new way. And we do something called unit analysis to figure that out. I'm going to start by saying write down given info. And so that's the first step I'm going to take. I'll do that in blue here. I have 147,300,000 ounces. Okay. And I'm going to add something here in red as a fraction, in parentheses ratio. And so I'm going to write 147,300,000 ounces over 1 so that it looks like a fraction. Okay, and so then it says I have these two conversion pieces. I'll just kind of point them out here. 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. And so I want to describe the same amount of gold. This is how much gold I have. And so I'm going to multiply that by a clever 1. And something you should know is that when you multiply by 1, it doesn't change the quantity at all. And so I'm going to multiply by a special 1. For instance, I could multiply by 1 pound over 1 pound. And when you think about division, it's how many times does 1 pound fit into 1 pound? Well, it fits in exactly 1 time, so I'm multiplying by 1. But I can go even better than that. I can put 16 ounces down here. Now look what happens. So the question again with division, how many times does 16 ounces fit into 1 pound? It fits in just 1 time. So again, I've only multiplied by 1. But this has an advantage. When I look at this now, I see that ounces is on top and ounces is on bottom. And so an ounce divided by an ounce is 1. It kind of cancels out in our terminology. So I'm going to cancel these guys out. And so the second step that I'll take and make note of over here, so I'll put a little 1 up here and then a 2, multiply by trades to change units. And that's what this is right here. This is a trade of 1 pound for 16 ounces so that I can change the units, because at this point in my problem I've eliminated ounces and my answer is going to be in pounds. But again, I don't want pounds. It asked me for an answer in tons. And so I'm going to make another trade. This is my second trade. And so in order to cancel out pounds, I need pounds on the bottom. So I'll put LBs down here, and that's going to trade for tons. And the question is how many tons go into how many pounds go into a ton, and it's 2,000 per 1 ton. And so again, I see that I have pounds, and because there's 1 on top and 1 on bottom, it will cancel out. Sorry, I meant to grab a red pen there. And so my answer at this point is going to be in tons. And it's because both ounces and pounds have been canceled out. And so now I'm on to my third step, which I'm going to make note of right here. Number 3, multiply the fractions. And so to multiply fractions, you multiply a cross on the top and a cross on the bottom. And so I'm going to do 147,300,000 times 1 times 1. And I'll do 1 times 16 times 2,000 on the bottom. I'm just going to take a moment to actually do that calculation. This is one of the kinds of problems that you are allowed to use calculators on. The top I don't need one for though, because it's just 147,300,000, because anything times 1 is itself, over 1 times 16 times 2,000 is 32,000. Okay, so now I can divide those things. And so I'm going to put the answer here as divide and round is the fourth step. And so 147,300,000 over 32,000, I'm going to type that in and calculate it. I'm just double checking to make sure I have the right number of zeros. Divided by 32,000 is equal to 4,603.125. When I look at this, I need to note that it says round to the nearest integer. The integer is right here, and so I'm going to round it down to 4,603, and my answer is in tons. And so I'm going to put that right here after I double check my calculation just to make sure. 147,300,000 divided by 32,000. Okay, it looks good. So I'm just going to plug it in here, 4603, and I got it right. Okay, so that is basically the process that you're going to use every single time. You're going to start with your given information. You're going to multiply by trades to change the units, and then you're going to multiply and divide, and then round.